You can make it sustainable by choosing the non-agricultural lands or choosing the non-fertile lands for construction purposes. We must not think that, okay, this is our time now, let us use the environmental resources however we want. It is our time, let us enjoy it however we want. How can you reduce the mining of such minerals? By long-term usage of the gadgets that you have. Don't throw away your gadgets and buy a new one even though the old gadgets are running properly. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to today's session on Environmental Studies of second semester B.Ca, wherein we'll study about the Unit 1, that is Introduction to Environmental Studies. I'm Dr. Divya, Environmental Studies Faculty, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So in today's session, let us learn about sustainability, that is the concept of sustainability and sustainable development. So we'll start with what is sustainability. So sustainability means meeting our own needs without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. So here we need to take care of whatever we use from the ecosystem or from the environment. We should not overuse it in such a way that the future generations will not get to use it. So our usage of the ecosystem or our usage of the services provided by the ecosystem should always be in such a way that the future generation can also use it without any problem. So that is called as sustainability. So next, talking about the concept of sustainability and sustainable development. So the concept of sustainability is relatively a new idea which earlier it was not implemented. It was followed but it was not implemented as a subject, wherein no knowledge was given to the people regarding what exactly is sustainability. That word has been made famous nowadays. And it is a duty of each and every person in thinking of the future generation to maintain sustainability in the ecosystem. So the concept of sustainability is relatively a new idea. The movement as a whole has roots in social justice. It comes in conservationism, it comes in internationalism and also other past movements with rich histories as well. And by the end of the 20th century, many of these ideas had come together and they called it as sustainable development. So that is when sustainability became a sustainable development. So that is how the word changed. So knowing about sustainability is also important. Along with that, to maintain the sustainability, for the sustainable development, what all has to be done, knowing that is also very, very important so that we can safeguard sustainability or we can be sustainable in using the services provided by the ecosystem. So this is what you'll study in this whole session of today's class. So now the question arises, why should we be sustainable? Can't we enjoy at present whatever is there? Why think of the future generation? No, that will not help, because if you're not sustainable now, maybe during your time itself, something might become completely lost or it might become completely extinct wherein you will not get to use it. Say for example, fossil fuel, that is the petrol. Petrol, you know, and diesels are very, very important for running a vehicle, right? And nowadays, I don't think any of you might have the habit of walking long distances. To go to a nearby place also, you prefer going in your vehicle, either a two-wheeler or four-wheeler or whatever, right? So for that, fuel is needed. Now, thinking that I'm paying money, it is my money that I'm spending to purchase fuel. Let me use it however I want. Let me not decide to use it in a good manner, that is, use it in a manner that I can protect it for the future or safeguard it for the future. If you have that idea or if you have that attitude, what happens? Can't say during your time when you're there itself, very soon the fuels might become completely lost from the planet. Now, what will happen if the fuels are not there? Again, you'll have to depend on your legs to move from one place to another, which is quite tiring for the present generation that is there actually, right? So that is why sustainability should be brought about and should be maintained right from the beginning itself. So why sustainability? Adopting sustainable practices, whether large or small, can have significant impacts in the long run. So that is why sustainability is very, very important. And in every office worker, say for example, I'll just give you a very simple example. We use paper clips to make you understand why sustainability is very important. Here we'll take a simple thing that we use daily, that is usually in offices and all, it is quite often used, wherein I've took an example of the offices in the United Kingdom, wherein they did a survey. It was a hypothesis put, wherein they said that if every office worker in the United Kingdom used one less staple a day by using a reusable paper clip. So you all know the staplers, right? Staplers are nothing but having that steel pins, which you just push it like this and you pin the papers. Now, can you remove the staple pin and put it back into the stapler and reuse it again? No. Imagine how much loss it is there. But the paper clip, that beautiful color paper clips that you get, how many ever times you want, you can reuse it, right? So that is why, that is sustainability. Always think of something that is reusable, then using something that can be used only once, and then you'll have to discard it or throw it. So here in every office, worker in the United Kingdom used one less staple a day by using reusable paper clip, then it is said that 120 tons of steel would be saved. Steel is also non-renewable, right? So here, imagine if 120 tons of steel you can save per year, you're doing something for the future generation. You're saving it for the future generation. So there is an alternative here. Why can't you go for that alternative? Is it necessary that you need to use only a stapling pin? You can go for an alternative like using a paper clip. So now you might have understood why sustainability is important. So there are many examples which I'll take in this particular session, which will make you understand even better. So next, moving on to sustainability in detail, we'll study. So to achieve sustainability, there must be a balance between the economic, environmental and social factors, and an equal harmony should be there between the environment, economic and social factors. And these three, that is the economy, the environment as well as the social factors, they are the three pillars of sustainability. So what are the three pillars of sustainability? It is environment, economic and social factors. If all these three function in a equal or in a harmonious way, then only the sustainability of the ecosystem is possible. Here I've put how the sustainability can be maintained, like why it is necessary for all of these three to function harmoniously. Say for example, we have social and economic stability. It will give equitability in the society. So social and economical stable throughout the people living in a society will provide some equitability, or it will bring equality among the people. So that is one reason here. Next is social and environmental sustainability. So social and environmental sustainability means it will make the environmental bearable for the society. So it is nothing but you need to curb down the pollution. You need to protect the environment. You need to reuse certain materials so that it doesn't go a waste. So that is how the social, that is the people living in a society, if they maintain a harmonious relationship by developing a sustainable environment, it will lead to a bearable or a happy living in that particular environment. So that is how they are interconnected. Next is economic plus environmental sustainability. I told you, the best example I gave in the previous slide was the paper clips, right? The stapler pins and the paper clips. Stapler pins, if it gets over, again you need to buy it. Now you're spending your money on it, unnecessary waste, right? But if you, instead of stapler pins, if you use the paper clips, many times until it is good enough to use, you can use it many number of times. So you're saving money there, right? So that is where economy and environmental sustainability also comes hand in hand and with each other, leading to viability of that particular company. Now you simply use, or for example, simple example, IT industries. they use a lot of cups, right? So is it better to use plastic cups, or if they're using plastic cups also, it is better to use the cups which can be recycled. So therefore, so that is one of the reason. And not just that, they can use, instead of going in for plastic cups or instead of going in for paper cups, imagine using plastic cups will lead to a lot of pollution. Paper cups, it is nothing but a cutting down of so many trees to make so many tons of paper cups a year. But instead, how can you maintain the sustainability? Why can't each employee bring his own cup to his office wherever he's working, right? So there is no need of depending on the plastic or the paper cups are there. So that will save the environment, as well as it will save the company's money as well, right? So that is how economic and environmental sustainability, and it will also make the company viable because it will save economy of that particular country. So that is how each of these, that is the economic, environmental and social factors, if they go hand in hand itself, then quite a harmonious or peaceful environment can be set up in a particular region. So this is about sustainability. So let's study about each of these one by one. So talking about environmental sustainability. What are the three pillars I told you? Environmental sustainability, economic sustainability and social sustainability. So first talking about environmental sustainability. Environmental sustainability means we are living within the means of our natural resources. That is true, right? We are living within the means of natural resources. If natural resources are there, humans are there, or humans' life will be made easier. And our greed, if it completely diminishes or if it completely declines the natural resources, then the human life will be put into a problem, right? So that is what is environmental stability here. So to live in a true environmental sustainability, we need to ensure that we are consuming our natural resources such as materials, various energy fuels, land, water, the air, whatever it is, food, etc. at a sustainable rate, that is at a controlled rate. So here, the best example, land. Don't misuse the land. How can you stop misusing the land? Of course, you need houses, you need offices, you need industry for the development of the people living there and also for the country as well. But how can you make it sustainable? You can make it sustainable by choosing the non-agricultural lands or choosing the non-fertile lands for construction purposes. Therefore, the fertile lands will remain as such. There you can grow trees, crops and all that. So that is how you maintain a balance or you maintain sustainability of the environment. So there are some resources which are more abundant than the other resources, and therefore we need to plan properly. So therefore we need to consider material scarcity. So having a proper plan, there is a resource which is highly abundant. Say for example, biofuel, and say for example, the compressed natural gas that is available. Instead of using the petrol and the diesel, why can't we go in for using this compressed natural gas or the biofuel which are abundantly available? Why? Because biofuel, as I told you, it is got from Jatropha. Jatropha is a plant that is usually found in the fields and all that growing. So I don't know whether you have used it, wherein we used to use it in the childhood to blow bubbles. So you just break the stem of the leaf or the petiole of that leaf and just use it to blow bubbles out of it. So that is one plant which has been refined in such a way and it has been used to run many machineries and vehicles. But why can't such experiments be conducted on a larger scale, and why can't they come up with a fuel out of that Jatropha plant in such a way that it can be used to run vehicles? So therefore, when Jatropha you can cultivate on a larger extent, and whenever you need it, you can cultivate it and extract fuel out of it. But is that possible with petrol and diesel? Not that possible, right? So that is when you can consider, okay, this can be done. So that is when you can consider for the usage of which particular material more weightage has to be given. Say for example, minerals. There are some minerals which are quite abundant and there are some minerals which are not that abundant. So why do you need to use that minerals which are not that abundant? You can find an alternative source wherein those minerals which are very much present or present in large quantities in the earth, that you can use for various purposes, and limit the use of those elements or minerals which are very less found in the earth. So that is how you need to have an idea and think before itself how to maintain a sustainable environment. So the damage to the environment from the extraction of these materials, and if the resources can be kept within the circular economy principle. So it is nothing but means every mineral should circulate in such a manner that it is available all through the time, not just depending on one particular mineral for everything. Say for example, there are various minerals that are used for making an electric item. Among those minerals, there might be some minerals which are present very less quantity in the earth. Why can't you find a different alternative wherein you can use those minerals which are abundant to make a electric equipment or something, right? So that is how you need to maintain the sustainability. And we need to aspire net zero carbon and then move beyond to ultimately achieve climate positive principles. And also we need to maintain environmental sustainability. So we need to also make sure that we reduce the carbon emissions. So because carbon emissions can pose a lot of threat to the environment in the form of pollution and all that. So that is why we can minimize or maintain the environmental sustainability by aspiring to net zero carbon. So that is when you use coal, petrol, diesel and all that, these fossil fuels, it leads to a lot of emission of carbon, which is not good for the environment. And instead of that, we can go in for an alternative wherein you can maintain the environmental sustainability. So this is about environmental sustainability. So next, talking about economic sustainability. So economic sustainability requires that a business or country uses its resources efficiently and responsibly so that it can operate in a sustainable manner to consistently produce an operational profit. So this economic sustainability is mainly dependent on a particular business or a particular country, wherein within their area of working, they can create a suitable sustainable environment in such a way that it will protect the environment as well, and it will also improve the economy of that particular business or that particular country. The best example I gave you was of the paper clip, how you can replace a stapler with a paper clip. So that is about economic stability and economic sustainability. Not just that, I can give the example of industries, right? Industries is also related to some business because it fetches a good economy to the person or the people running the industry and also to the country as well. Now, every time you dispose of waste, you don't dispose it properly, and it leads to a problem wherein you'll have to spend extra money in order to cover it up, right? So instead of that, why can't you spend very little money and dispose the waste in such a manner so that the economy of the industry can also be saved and also the environment of the country can also be protected. So that is about economic sustainability. So without an operational profit, a business cannot sustain its activity. So that is why when you're gaining a profit, you also need to gain a profit in such a way that you're taking care of the environment as well as you're taking care of the economy as well. So without acting responsibility and using its resources efficiently, a company will not be able to sustain its activity in the long term. So that is why whatever resources are available, you have to make use of it in an efficient manner so that it doesn't become an economic loss to the company, nor it poses a threat to the environment. So that is about economic sustainability, where you need to maintain a balance between the capital and also the environment. Next is social sustainability. Social sustainability is the ability of the society or any social system to continuously achieve a good social well-being. So achieving social sustainability ensures that social well-being of a country, the social well-being of an organization or a community can be maintained in the long term. So social sustainability can be maintained by the people living in that particular society trying to use the products that are available or use the resources that are available in a sustainable manner, so that in a long term they can use those resources without any problem. Otherwise, continuous usage or improper usage can lead to the depletion of the resources, therefore breaking down the harmony between the society or in the society. So that is about social sustainability. Next, let's talk about the concept of sustainable development. So, sustainable development allows all future generations to have a potential average quality of life that is at least as high as that which is being enjoyed by the current generation. So, we are the current generation, right? We are the current generation. I told you in the beginning itself, we must not think that, okay, this is our time now. Let us use the environmental resources however we want. It is our time. Let us enjoy it however we want. But that should not happen. That doesn't mean you're maintaining sustainability. How can you maintain the sustainable development? It can be maintained only if you have the idea, or if you lead a quality of life in such a way that you use the resources in a very good manner, so that the future generation, at least 50%, that they can lead a peaceful life when compared to the current generation that is existing, so that you don't deplete a particular resource so that the future generation will not have to suffer out of it. So this is the basic concept of sustainable development. So the concept of sustainable development was actually introduced, or it was given more importance or emphasized by the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development. So that was the time when they put forth an idea of sustainable development. What can be done for sustainability? What can be done for the sustainable development? All this was discussed in the United Nations Conference on Environmental Development. So let's look into the definition of sustainable development. So development that meets the need of the present generation without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. As I told you, all the needs of the present generation should be met in such a way that it should not pose a threat to the future generation. So those needs should be available for the future generation as well. So that kind of development is called as sustainable development. So talking about the concept of sustainable development, we must learn that the planet must shift to renewable resources. So what are the concepts of sustainable development? What can be done to maintain sustainability of the environment or the ecosystem? One thing is shifting to renewable resources. From non-renewable resources, we need to switch over to renewable resources. Say for example, from using the liquid petroleum gas or from using the diesel or petrol for the vehicles, let us start using non-renewable resources instead of those. So, the planet must shift to renewable resources of energy as compared to the regular thermal or hydropower plants that lead to climatic degradation. So, hydropower thermal power plants, they give out a lot of harmful waste that are there, which is difficult to dispose as well, which is a threat to the environment. And hydropower plants also, they make use of the water energy to produce electricity. And once the water depletes, what happens? The production of electricity can get completely stopped. So instead of using the non-renewable resources, we need to go in for an alternative of using the renewable resources like the solar energy. Solar energy will never come to an end. Every time it is available, right? So we can depend on solar energy for that. We can depend on the natural gases. So that is how we can maintain the sustainability. So that is the concept. So this concept of sustainable development, I'll explain it to you taking various examples of various organizations, industries and all, wherein how you can maintain this or how you can adopt the sustainable concept. So solar energy, instead of using thermal energy or hydropower energy, we can go in for solar energy, which is an effective alternative which can be used in order to provide energy, wherein we can use photovoltaic cells to capture the solar energy radiation, and that trapped radiation can be used for lighting the house, for cooking purposes, for heating water. Therefore, instead of electricity, these solar energy can be used. And using wind energy, that this is also one of the best alternative. So setting up windmills in areas where there is high speed wind current circulating most of the time can convert the use of natural resources into electricity for commercial as well as household usages. So we have wind energy also available. And apart from that, like how we use solar energy, right? Just like that, we can use the energy from the air, which can be trapped, just like how solar radiations are trapped by solar panels. These wind temperature of the air can also be trapped, and out of that also we can use it for lighting the houses and boiling water and all that, or for cooking purposes and all that. So this is how we are using the renewable resources such as solar energy, wind energy, all this, instead of using the non-renewable resources such as the thermal or hydropower energies. So this was the main concept of sustainable development. Next concept was to use natural manure. So instead of using fertilizers, chemical insecticides and chemical pesticides, which causes a lot of problem to the human beings as well, health of the human beings, also it causes a lot of problem to the fertility of the soil and also to the organisms that are living in the soil. Instead of going in for that and imbalancing the environment, we can go in for a more sustainable way, wherein we can use natural manure or biocompost instead of chemical fertilizers. So this actually helps in preventing soil erosion, and also it helps in preventing soil pollution as well. And subsidized LPG as fuel can be used in rural areas, and compressed natural gas as fuels can be used for vehicles in urban areas. So therefore, when LPG is given, people will, not everybody can have LPG in their home, because there are many people who are still poor, below poverty line in India, right? They are below poverty line. Such people, what they do is they go into forest and they illegally cut trees for firewood. So that can be stopped. How can it be stopped? It can be stopped if the government provide them subsidized LPG, wherein they will be able to afford LPG. So therefore, instead of cutting down wood from the forest for this cooking purposes and all that, they can depend on this particular LPG. And not just that, even instead of using this diesel and petrol and all that for the vehicles, compressed natural gas can be used for the vehicles, which is renewable. Diesel, petrol and all are non-renewable. So that is why. This was also one of the concept of sustainable development. So to make you understand, we'll study in detail the concept of sustainability. How sustainability can be seen in technology, in fashion, in transportation, in zero waste, in food and agriculture, how you can see sustainability in workplace, and how sustainable cities can be developed, and how waste management can be developed. So here first we'll start with technology. So technology, so electronic devices. We all are gadget freaks nowadays, right? We use a lot of electronic devices, and every year a new mobile comes into the market. We are eager to buy it, in spite of other mobiles that we are using are of good condition. So that should be avoided, and that is one of the concept of sustainability in the areas of technology. So electronic devices, usually they are made using the minerals that are extracted from the earth, and these minerals are extracted by the mining industries. When these mining industries extract minerals, a lot of waste will be generated. That waste, again, they don't dispose it properly, therefore posing a threat to the environment. So how can you help? How can you help? You can help by reducing the mining of such minerals. How can you reduce the mining of such minerals? By long-term usage of the gadgets that you have. Don't throw away your gadgets and buy a new one, even though the old gadgets are running properly. So that is how you can contribute to maintaining sustainability in terms of technology. So mining can be a very polluting industry, and the development of new sites certainly has an impact on deforestation. and more mining sites are found, more forests are cut in order to mine that particular area, therefore leading to deforestation. Again, deforestation will imbalance the environment or the ecosystem, therefore leading to unsustainable environment, right? So companies can also focus on recycling lithium-ion batteries. So usually lithium-ion batteries that are used in electric cars, solar panel batteries, etc., they should be recycled and reused again. So such things can be done, and building products whose core car be maintained and replaced by a new battery will also be the ones at the forefront. So this also can be done. The best thing is use batteries which are reusable, so that you can just reuse it, so that you don't have to depend on the non-renewable resources that are there. So this is about technology. So next, sustainability in fashion. How you can contribute to sustainability of the environment through fashion. So here, for fashion means something related to the clothes that we wear, and clothes usually are made out of cotton. So there usually nowadays the generation has a trend that whatever trendy clothes come to the market, they need to buy it. So that is when, if you stop buying or if you buy less clothes, then you will contribute to maintaining a sustainable environment. How you can contribute, we shall look into. So fast growing cotton generally requires the use of industrial toxic chemicals that often causes soil pollution. So cotton cannot be directly plucked from the plants and used directly. It has to be refined by using various toxic chemical substances and all that by the industries. So what happens here is, when they use these toxic chemicals and all that, they release the waste material into the nearby water bodies, leading to eutrophication. Eutrophication is nothing but the water bodies get filled with chemicals, leading to the growth of the water plants uncontrollably, therefore causing death of the fishes and the aquatic organisms that are living there. So therefore, you will be imbalancing the environment. Instead of that, forget about fashion and just whatever clothes you have, try to maintain it until it is torn or until it becomes old. Therefore, what happens? You're minimizing, or you're trying to maintain the sustainability in the environment. So there is a lot of textile waste, and many clothes are made of synthetic fibers which, while being washed, escape to the oceans as microplastic. You have a lot of synthetic fibers nowadays: nylon, polyester, rayons. All these are comfortable materials that are there and easy to maintain materials than cotton. So that is why youngsters usually prefer for these materials. But whenever we wash these materials, a part of these synthetic fibers in the form of lint will come out as waste. That when you put it out, it will enter into the drain. That drain water will enter into rivers and ponds, polluting that particular rivers and ponds in the form of microplastic. So that is how, by minimizing the use of the artificial or synthetic cloth materials, you can go for the natural cloth materials instead. So next, let's study about transportation. How sustainability can be maintained through transportation. We all know that the diesel or the petrol or the fuels that are used for transportation, they emit a lot of carbon dioxide and a lot of. So greenhouse gases usually come out from the transportation vehicles, and they are opposed to the environment. Why? Because they increase the temperature of the environment, therefore causing a lot of imbalance in the ecosystem. So that is how can we reduce the emission of greenhouse gases? Of course, we can use biofuels and all that, but in spite of that, by using petrol and diesel vehicles also, how can we reduce the use of this petrol and diesels, or how can we reduce the emission of greenhouse gases? One thing is by carpooling. That is, a person has to, in an office, say for example, few people can come in one vehicle if they're going to the same destination, right? So that is called as carpooling, so that minimizing. So 4 people using 4 cars separately and 4 people coming in one car, you're reducing the pollution or the emission of greenhouse gases to the environment. So that is how you can help in maintaining the sustainability of the environment. And also by taking public transportation, especially trains and buses, and also by walking or cycling if it is a short distance. So that is also a way of, or one of the concepts how you can maintain sustainability, or how you can go in for sustainable development. And alternatives like electric cars can also be used, or hydrogen cars can be used, or electric scooters can also be used for commuting, so that you don't have to go in for petrol and diesel vehicles which are emitting greenhouse gases, posing a threat to the environment or the ecosystem. Next is following zero waste. So our lifestyle nowadays encourages following zero waste, right? What is this zero waste? Zero waste is nothing but you need to use products which are recyclable. Instead of plastic straws, you go in for the paper straws. And nowadays there are cups and spoons and plates available, just like the ice cream cone. So how you can eat the ice cream cone, right? Just like that, after you have your food, you can eat the cups and plates and all that. So that is how you can minimize the use of zero waste. Or you can go in for carrying your own cloth bag to a market instead of taking a polythene bag from there to collect the goods. So that is how you can go in for zero waste. So lifestyle nowadays encourages people to use all types of resources in a circular way, which means you have to reuse it through recycling, right? So just like the natural world does. So avoid resources that end up as in trash in the oceans or landfills. The best example, one more common thing that you can do is the milk packets. So milk packets, whenever we open a milk packet, what we do, we cut a small bit of it and just throw it into the dustbin, right? So that small bit is considered to be the microplastic which cannot be recycled. But instead, leave that small bit in the cover itself. Don't cut it and remove it off completely from the milk cover, so that the entire milk packet can be recycled. The small bits that you cut and throw away cannot be recycled. Again, it will end up in some land area or in some ocean or something, posing a threat to the environment. So such small thoughts can help in maintaining a sustainability in the environment. Next is sustainability in the workplace. So companies which usually depend on new technologies, they have started becoming paperless, right? Nowadays, even you students also, you don't have that habit of taking up notes. Everything will be in your laptop, your tablets or your mobiles in the form of soft copy. That is, in one way it is good because you're saving trees. But on the other hand, it's not good because you'll miss the art of, you'll miss learning the art of writing. But the companies and all that don't follow this in education institutions, that is especially by the students. But people working in companies and all that, they can follow this, wherein instead of using just to write 2 or 3 lines using a complete paper, A4 sheet size of paper, just go in for practicing typing and storing everything in the computer itself, wherein you can become paperless. You can minimize the use of paper, or providing conditions and training for employees to recycle, or being careful about waste management, or teaching the employees how you need to use products that are recyclable, so that you can maintain a green environment in the workplace or the office. And also, instead of using lights and all that, it is better to open the blinds and allow the natural sunlight. And the office should be constructed in such a way that natural light can enter into, so that you can minimize the use of lights. So all this is one of the all these are good ways to have a sustainability or a sustainable workplace. Next is, how can you build up sustainable cities? So building up sustainable cities is one of the concept of sustainability, wherein sustainable cities are those that have strong social, economic and environmental performance. So all the 3 pillars of sustainability you can see in this particular sustainable cities. So they have good scores when it comes to air pollution, when it comes to availability of public transportation. Even Mysore had a good score, right, wherein we were considered to be the zero waste city. But is it true? To how extent, I don't know. But still, we were considered to be the zero waste. Why? Because of proper cleaning that was done by the garbage workers, whoever were there, right? So that was the reason. People didn't stop throwing, of course they did, but the contribution, actually, the credit goes to the municipality people who collect waste. So the credit goes to them. So number of educated and employed people the percentage of green spaces, energy consumption or access to drinking water, everything is in a sustainable manner in the sustainable city. So that is how you call it a sustainable city, wherein the people live harmoniously with the environment without disturbing it or without posing a threat to it. So this is about sustainable city, one of the concept of sustainability. Next is waste management. So managing the waste properly is also one of the concept of sustainability. So a factory that takes proper care of its industrial waste and doesn't drop it or doesn't put it in nearby river or land is acting in a sustainable way. So in fact, this factory is being responsible for avoiding short-term costs of damaging disposal that could have expensive and impactful long-term environmental damage. Here, capital, economy and environmental sustainability both are there. How? Say for example, there is a factory which is disposing waste and that factory is not disposing waste properly, but instead they're just dumping it without any proper refining and all that. They're just dumping it as such in the rivers and the lands. Now somebody complains about it, the company will have to pay a huge sum of amount. So think of it, that huge sum of amount will be so high that he could have at least used it for cleaning the waste or removing the toxicity from the waste and then disposing it properly. So that is where we need to think of. The capital of the company would have saved or capital of the industry would have been saved. So that is how we need to this is waste management is one of the concept of sustainability. And at the same time, companies looking for less polluting packing alternatives are also good sustainable models to follow. Like say for example, during transportation, they use a lot of packaging materials such as thermocol. Thermocol is actually not good because or styrofoam material they use. So this styrofoam is one such material that results in a lot of land and air pollution, and also burning styrofoam can lead to ozone depletion. So instead of using that, why can't they go in for a more sustainable method wherein they can go in for a packaging material which can be recycled and reused again. So those companies which follows all these packaging rules and all that are a more sustainable company. So all these are the concepts of sustainability. So since plastics are polluting land and also they are harming the ecosystem as well as biodiversity, it is a good idea that the businesses invest in biodegradable materials. Again here, you plan for a startup wherein you try to find out a material that is biodegradable in a low cost which can be provided to the people. Therefore, the capital of your startup will also increase as well as the sustainability of the environment can also be maintained. So this is how capital and sustainability goes, or economy and sustainability goes hand in hand. So waste management is also one of the concept of sustainability. So this was about the concept of sustainability and sustainable development. So we learned what sustainability is, why is there a need to maintain sustainability, and what are the different concepts that you can follow in order to maintain a sustainable environment. All that we studied, wherein I explained taking different examples in different sectors here. So I hope you understood this session well. With this, the chapter, that is the Unit 1, Introduction to Environmental Studies, comes to an end. So we shall meet again in the coming sessions by taking a new chapter. Thank you.